guys, it's me, Gayle MacBride. I'm one half of Veritas Views, Am I the Asshole Edition. I am here to let you know, guys, we're not going to be those assholes, I promise. We are going on a season break, but assholes would give you the best of. Not assholes are going to give you the least loved episodes. These are episodes we think you might have missed. They're little gems. So just heads up, you're going to hear one of those today. It might be one that you missed. Give it a listen. Let us know what you think. Season 1 has ended on episode 44. We're going to be back in 2025 with some new ideas and new concepts and a whole new season. So join us again after 5 encore episodes and have a wonderful 2025. Michael, tell us what today's episode is all about.
Our 5th and final encore episode is episode 11. And the subject there was, am I the asshole for suggesting that my girlfriend wears protective equipment at poker night? And obviously the post will explain more about it. It was kind of a quirky and weird one, probably one of the stranger ones I remember. But anyway, if this is your first time listening to it, awesome. I hope you enjoy it. If you already listened to it before, on a second listen, you pick up new things. Please do either way, drop us a message in the mailbag. Hit us with any questions you have, your own rulings. Tell us what we got wrong. Any number of those things. And we'll definitely get back with you. Looking forward to fresh episodes in 2025. Bye.
Well, hey there. You've stumbled upon the intersection of internet quandaries and psychological insight. Welcome to Veritas Views on AITA, where the quirks of the internet meet the expertise of Veritas Psychology Partners.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Michael MacBride, and I'm joined by our dynamic duo of psychologists.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gayle MacBride, and with me today is my colleague and partner, Dr. Danielle Kessler.
Hey,
I'm
Gayle.
supposed to say something nice about you now. I guess I'll say, smart guy. He's also pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm supposed to say something really nice about you too. I'll say that I really appreciate. No, I do. We've been spending 10 years in offices side by side, bouncing stuff off each other when we have big questions and like discussing psychological stuff. Like, that's great. Enjoy doing this. So let's go.
Yeah, welcome both of you. For anybody who's new to this out there, if you don't know what Am I the Asshole is, in short, someone posts a scenario and asks readers, who's the asshole here? And that's what we're going to help determine. Neither Dan nor Gayle have seen this before, so let's check it out. Today's is much shorter than some of the other ones in the past. So the headline is, am I the asshole for suggesting my girlfriend wears PPE at poker night? And then the very short...
You mean like a mask?
Personal protective equipment?
I believe so.
Spoken like a medical professional. Okay.
So okay. This is the full question. My mate hosts poker and cigar nights, and this time our girlfriends were invited. He had a basket of filtration masks available for the girls when they arrived because of the cigars. Most of the girls were wearing them when we got there, and it can be really smoky during the night, so I suggest she just wears it like the others. She said it was an asshole thing to make girls wear masks so the guys could smoke without feeling guilty, which I don't feel that it was. Who's the asshole here?
What? This is really strange. So this dude is going to poker night that's generally attended by other dudes who like to, I assume, drink maybe high-end liquors such as scotches and bourbons and things like that, as men are wont to do.
Or low-end beers at some of the poker nights I've been to.
Oh, I suppose, but you wouldn't maybe do that with cigars, right? Low-end beer and cigar doesn't really work like higher-end liquor and cigars. So that's where I was making my assumption. And so we've got these men sitting around a traditional poker table, drinking liquor again, I presume, and smoking cigars. And this particular night, the ladies are invited, and then they're given masks to wear. That's the, like, do I have that right?
I think you have it right. Does she have it right, Michael?
Yeah, that's exactly the scenario that you're describing,
right? I'm just going to start with what the fuck.
That is exactly it. What the fuck? Like, you know what? The ladies are dainty and they need masks. And us real men will smoke cigars and not have masks. This is wrong on so many levels.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
To absolve your guilt or discomfort with smoking cigars, you're going to just slap a mask? I mean, might as well not invited the women, to be honest. If you don't want your women folk to inhale the cigar smoke, or they aren't going to like it, don't have them come. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the gift of not inviting them in the first place. Yeah, and I say that a bit tongue in cheek, but actually, there's a great book. I'm going to take us off topic a little bit, and you can bring us back in a moment, either of the gentlemen in this conversation. But there's a book called The Art of the Gathering, and it's written by this woman, Priya Parker, who actually, I think, Dan, you might be really interested in reading and knowing more about, because she does high conflict mediation. She's got this background. But she has written this book all about how we gather, and she defines gathering as 3 or more people, and then really talks about the intention of the gathering and who you invite, and kind of almost setting up rules around the gathering so that you hold the intention of the gathering. Like the mom's night, you don't talk about your kids, and if you talk about a kid, you get a shot, like that kind of thing, like really being intentional about it. And I'll tell you what, I read the book. It was fascinating. She talked about this whole idea of, not inviting someone. That's sometimes the nicest thing you can do, so they don't have to tell you no, right? And have that awkward conversation. I loved it. And then I will tell you, at the end of the book, I closed it and went, oh my God, this is a group therapy textbook for therapists. This was exactly what you need to do to run good group therapy. So there you go. That's my off tangent.
Yeah, no, it's on topic, of course. But I was thinking about, this happens so often, and I've made the comment before that like every rom-com could be solved by a good conversation 10 minutes into it and roll credits. But like, here's an opportunity to say, hey, like they could have been like, you know what, we love to smoke, and that's part of poker night. If you want to wear a mask while we're all smoking,
you can continue in a moment. But any woman who is with a man at poker night, and this is a ritual, knows that they fucking smoke cigars, because he comes home and smells like cigars.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you feel about the smell of cigars? That's coming home with you.
Right. But there was an opportunity to say, like we're all going to smoke cigars. Are you comfortable with that? Do you want to wear a mask to make yourself more comfortable with it? Or, or to sit down and say, you know what, we're going to decide not to smoke cigars this poker night because we're inviting people who might not feel comfortable with that cigar smoke. But it's a conversation. And I think that the line is absolutely crossed when he's like, you should wear a mask too, because all the other women are doing it. Like that's again telling her what to do with her body.
Yes, absolutely.
And
in a sense, how to dress. I mean, would he feel comfortable saying, well, the other girlfriends are wearing, body hugging dresses to this event tonight, so you ought to, take that frilly thing off and put on something that's a little snugger. Like, it'd be abhorrent. And yet we're telling her to wear a mask, and how to present her body, and how to protect herself. Like, that's just.
And having been to many a poker night in my misspent youth, although not this kind. I was a member of the Moose Lodge at the Loyal Order of the Moose when in Southern Virginia, and I played poker every Wednesday night, and it was a great game. I loved it, and it was a small basement room, and everybody smoked there but me. There wasn't cigars or bourbon. There was beer and cigarettes, and I came home and I reeked. And I think anyone who yes, as you mentioned, Gail, anyone who had met with me afterwards would know immediately upon my arrival that that I had been in a smoke-filled room. Why don't have a conversation?
And again, why are we inviting the partners? What are they supposed to do while these men play poker? Maybe socialize in another room. Again, then you're away from the smoke. Socialize in the same room. Or stare lovingly over your partner's shoulder and cheer him on. Like, maybe they're joining in entertainment value here for these women.
Maybe they're joining in with a poker night. I mean, in which case, fine. But then that's a conversation ahead of time. Hey, our partners don't particularly like cigar smoke. Let's not smoke this week. Again, there's a conversation here, but the place where the line really gets crossed is when he tells her what to do.
For sure.
I like
that the host offered the masks. That was actually, I think, generous and thoughtful, and showed some awareness. I think you're absolutely right. He crossed the line by suggesting that she engage in sort of conformity. She was aware, evidently, that the mask was there. She could have made that choice. She was not making that choice. He pressured her into a choice that she clearly didn't want.
Yeah, wear whatever the fuck you want to wear, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that. I mean, that's just ridiculous to be demanding about her conforming with a social norm that she didn't sign up for. And as you mentioned, everyone who walked in that room knew there was going to be cigars because they all smelled their boyfriends or husbands when they got home. So they all knew. And if they were uncomfortable with it, like I said, they could choose to wear a mask, they can choose to not go, or the dudes could choose ahead of time to not smoke that particular week because it's just a respectful thing to do. Any of those things are perfectly valid. And you're right. Kudos to the host for being nice enough to offer masks if people are uncomfortable. But where does anyone get off like, no, you have to do this because all the other women are doing it? No.
Well, I'm kind of surprised neither one of you have said why the girlfriend didn't clearly define the boundaries of like, I'm not going to go in that space. That's not for me. I'm not interested kind of thing. Like,
well, I had something similar along those lines. Not why am I going in this space so much, because I actually don't think maybe it bothered her. And she doesn't seem to be one to conform to these norms just because the other women are wearing masks. So I actually was more curious about her rationale for not wearing a mask, because it maybe bothered others. Maybe other boyfriends were saying, hey, you gotta wear masks. And so their girlfriends are along conforming, and she's not. So I would love to hear from her about her thought and rationale and experience of this.
I had this image of her like sitting down at the poker table, firing up a cigar and saying, deal me in. Like, why? I've been at poker nights that were not like all dudes. There are like I've played a lot of poker in my life, and my grad attended a few grad school poker nights where such things were going on, and although, to be honest, at one of my grad school poker nights, the smoking was decidedly not cigars.
Or cigarettes?
Or cigarettes. It was neither cigars nor cigarettes. And the hosts were kind enough to say to me, do you mind if we smoke? And I didn't really particularly care that they wanted to smoke. And there were 6 of us, and it was 3 men and 3 women, and half of them partook in the particular product being smoked, and half didn't. And I wanted to keep my wits about me, because I was a poor grad student.
Hoping to make some bank off your fellow grad students who are not so with it.
I may have enjoyed that night from a financial perspective because I did not partake. It's possible that I walked away with, a few bucks. But I knew everyone knew what they're getting into, and I have no idea why. I suspect she joined in. I hope she joined into the game. And why exclude anyone?
Unfortunately, we really don't get clarification on that. But as always, like I find I really love some of the comments. So I think my favorite comment this time around was, if you all knew the girlfriends hate being around cigar smoke, why invite them to poker night in the first place? You could have literally done anything else. B, why didn't not smoking become an option instead of make them wear PPE? And then C, I'll take shitty date night ideas for $500, Alex.
Okay, that's the winner. Whoever wrote that, that's fantastic. Thank you.
That's my favorite. I love all of those comments. Yes. Why wasn't not smoking an option? Why did they, like as you said, Gail, why did they invite them to this thing that was kind of like their dude thing? Yeah.
Got nothing.
I'm just blown away by the whole, like, you have to wear a mask thing. Like,
oh, and I love that he's still sort of questioning, like, am I kind of in the wrong here? Like, he's still questioning this.
Who was the poster here? Was it the girlfriend who's being made to wear the mask, or was it the boyfriend who was trying to make her wear the mask?
It was the boyfriend trying to make her wear the mask.
Yeah, he was the asshole.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm confident in that. Again, for the hard reason being telling her what to wear. The soft reason being like choosing to like smoke instead of like and offer PPE instead of like just not having cigars.
So are you saying the boyfriend's the asshole?
Yeah.
Hard, full stop. And then soft asshole for the other men at the gathering for choosing to smoke and or offering PPE in lieu of everyone remaining unmasked and masked and enjoying their time together.
Right. Unless it was one of those things.
Sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly see it as one of those things like, hey, you all, you know, maybe the I think that you said they're all boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe the girlfriends are all like, we really want to go. Okay, fine.
Sure.
You want to come? Happy to have a night where you all join us and kind of see what we're doing. But, you know, we smoke cigars. How do you feel about that? Like, that's, again, we're back to the conversation. Like,
right. That would have solved this 10 minutes in roll credits.
The open, comfortable conversation around, we all like to smoke cigars. And then for the guys to sit down and go like, hey, what should we do about the cigar thing? Because I come home and my girlfriend's like, you need a shower because you stink, bro. And you know, this has definitely come up in each of their relationships.
I'm sure.
Clearly.
And again, I mean, the women have decided to go to this thing. I believe that they know that they smoke cigars. So it is an interesting dynamic. I would go soft assholes for the men who, you know, maybe knew that this was an affront to the women and went ahead and did it anyway. And then, you know, hey, baby, mask up. But I don't really know exactly how that played out. So I feel like that's a soft asshole. Maybe you suck a little bit, kind of, sort of. But the boyfriend, for sure, the moment he told her put it on, conform to everybody else, that's asshole behavior. No,
yeah, totally, 100%. All right, we're in agreement. What does the internet say, Michael?
I was going to say, you're 100% in agreement with the internet. Now, I guess I shouldn't say 100%. The vast majority said 100%, you know, that he's the asshole for coercing her to come. It was an assumption that she wouldn't have come otherwise, which I think is problematic.
No, I'm not okay with it. Yeah. Well, oh, wait, what did you say, Gail?
I just think that's an inaccurate interpretation based on the data that we have.
Right. Yeah, we don't know why she chose the game. Like you guys both point out, she might have wanted to play poker. And
maybe he told her she had to come.
Maybe
apparently he's not above telling her what to do.
Right. No, that would make him even more of an asshole.
Right.
But if we're going to assume positive intent here and assume that was like, hey, like, you know, a lot of people, a lot of our partners have expressed some interest in doing this, like, yeah, let's have a night and come along. Yeah, I'm okay with that part.
Yeah.
Of him inviting them and having that. I think I got a little sidetracked here. What did Michael use? Oh,
Michael, what were other comments on the internet?
Oh, he was an asshole for making her come. Yeah, I'm not going to assume that he made her come. If he did make her go, then that would totally be a dick move as well. But if they were invited and they had the choice, and all the partners said, yeah, let's go to this poker night, it's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with that.
But to both of your points, I mean, the minute that he coerces her to put on a mask and basically says conform, everybody kind of piled on him, which rightfully so. I think my favorite tangents were people who essentially kind of tried to do the math, and based on statistical analysis of Reddit user profiles and that kind of stuff, were like, okay, you are white, 25-year-old, post-college graduate, you know, blah, blah, like pinpointed him. And they're like, you're probably living in an urban you know, and it was hilarious. I mean, he never came back in and like weighed in to say whether or not he was right. But then people were like, well, based on that, you should assume this and something else. And like, we feel like we're 85% right in our analysis of this person.
Wow. I mean, I have to admit that is more or less the picture I had in my head, just from a gut sense. I didn't do the math on it, but, you know, I did picture a young white male living in a relatively, you know, kind of urban area, dating, you know, probably a similarly aged, maybe a bit younger female who maybe felt a little like he could tell her what to do and be a little more commanding with her.
I totally had that stereotype, you know, in my head of the. Yeah. And
in their case, they also then extrapolated more, which is like, you're probably drinking shit liquor thinking you're all that, and smoking terrible cigars and blah blah blah. Anyway, like they just kind of continued to pile on him, and it was kind of funny to watch. But
yeah, it's
drinking Fireball and smoking shit cigars.
He probably let's not make fun.
Yes.
I'm going to totally poke fun of that. As someone who has been a graduate student and in my early 20s and purchased a cigar and then smoked it, and it was so bad. It's one of the biggest, not really regrets, but it was pretty impactful. Now, to flesh this story out just a moment, as one is maybe inclined to do when they're in graduate school for clinical psychology, a very easy Halloween costume for then very young not quite Dr. MacBride was Freudian slip. And what do you do but wear a slip with pictures of Freud all over it and carry a cigar for the night? And you get into the night and maybe a couple of drinks and maybe you smoke said cigar, but it probably cost you $3 because you're a graduate student and nobody should smoke a $3 cigar.
I have no idea what cigars cost.
I don't even remember, but all I know is I had to have been able to afford it, and it was not good.
It was not a good cigar. It was not a good.
Not a good cigar.
I really think where I'm happy that the internet came together is where we came on this, and that's that there really isn't any point where we should be telling our partner what to do, what to wear, how to dress, and I'm super happy to hear that the internet absolutely came down so hard on that really important piece of this of don't tell your partner what to do, offer them kindness, offer them this, but don't tell them what to do. So it's in this particular case, the internet warmed my heart.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for another riveting debate and a glimpse into the collective consciousness of the internet forums. Remember, morality is often shades of gray and not just black and white.
Truth can be stranger than fiction. Stay true and stay strange.
And we'll be back next week with another fascinating thing. Again, that I have no idea what it is, so I'm just assuming it's going to be fascinating, because Michael always picks the great stuff for us. So looking forward to chatting with you all and the internets again in a week or so.
Yeah, please follow and share Veritas Views on any of the podcast platforms with your neighbors and friends. And always stick around through the credits for the bonus conversation about the seemingly random items in the therapist's office and the stories behind those objects.
Credits. Tickling the Ivories, Matthew Reddington. Art, production, and design, bringing this show together with flair and finesse, Michelle Love. Recording and editing, turning chaos into something worth sharing, Michael MacBride. Intro, outro, I'm Kelly Buttrick, a VO talent who just happens to be Dr. MacBride's cousin. Cats, CJ, Linus, Sadie, and Griffin. Hosting by whomever lost the coin flip. Interruptions by all their children. You can follow Dr. Dan Kessler at Dr. Dan Kessler and Dr. Gayle MacBride at Dr. G. MacBride. Oh, and you can find them both at veritaspp.com. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Listening to this podcast does not constitute a therapist-client relationship. If you believe you may be experiencing a mental health issue, please seek the assistance of a qualified mental health professional. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call or text 988 from anywhere in the U.S. to be connected to Crisis Mental Health Services.
Thanks for listening. As promised, here's the bonus conversation.
So, Dan, I've known you for over a decade, and for the duration of that time, you have had an item in your desk drawer when you open and you rummage around in there. I see from time to time. It seems a little bit out of place for a therapist, so I'd like to ask you about it.
The big hammer. The hammer. There's
I really need to know why a therapist has a hammer in his desk drawer. Do you really hammer things that often?
No.
Maybe
So
a point?
the hammer has two reasons. The first is that I've got a wall in my office that I look at every day, and I wanted to find the perfect picture. And I got the hammer and I hung up all of my diplomas, because look at my diplomas, But so I put the hammer in the drawer thinking, when I figure out what to put on that wall, then I'll hammer it up there. And it's 15 years and I have seldom figured out the fuck to put there. So it's there, but also the hammer was my dad's. And it's a little piece of him that stays there. It's an old hammer. It's got some damage to the handle. It's got a hole in it. I don't know where the hole came from. My dad drilled a hole in it at some point. But it's also a piece of him that resides in my office. So like it's a monument to both a relationship with my father and my own indecisiveness.
I love that. And I can attest, again, I've known you for a decade and I've not known you at a time when your dad was living. So he's clearly been gone for some time. And that's lovely that you've been able to kind of keep a piece of him in your office, as it were.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Tune in next week for, as Dan pointed out, another Am I the Asshole debate. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
We love hearing from you, so please review us on Apple, Spotify, or, well, wherever you're listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please review, like, and follow. Also, give it a share. This helps us reach more listeners.